webinar captioned Graduate Studies, the Checklist. And our speaker for tonight will be Dr. Bright upon Afum, our noble patron who has been helping us throughout the years until this moment. So to start our program for the night, we invite Ms. Monica Buama to say a word of prayer for us as we start. Monica, if you're online, please pray for us. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, can you please hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, please go on.
Okay. We pray in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly
Amen.
Father, we thank you for today. We ask for your support, wisdom, and guidance as we begin this meeting. Allow us to engage in meaningful discussion, grow together as a group, and nurture the bonds of our community. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for the prayer. To continue, we invite our Vice President, Ms. Agnes Enima Usu, to give us the welcome address for tonight. Agnes, if you're online, please go on.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Kindly mute your microphones when you come online.
Okay.
If you are not talking, kindly mute your microphone.
Hello.
Agnes, please go ahead.
Okay, sure. Good evening, everyone, once again. I welcome you all to our first webinar after the orientation of our newly recruited members. On behalf of the chapter, I acknowledge the presence of the founder of the Awesome Takwa Students Chapter, Mr. Henry Entry, the guest speaker, Dr. Afum, who is our very own patron, and all protocol observed. On behalf of the chapter once again, I convey my heartfelt gratitude to you all for answering the invitation to this webinar. In today's session, our most competent and proficient patron, Dr. Bright, would enlighten us thoroughly on the topic, graduates cast the checklist. Some of us would want to or are preparing to further studies, especially our graduates, the checklist for graduate studies. Ladies and gentlemen, to answer this question, our speaker will expose us to various aspects we can look at enters venture. Let's stay focused while our speaker prepares. Take notes and also seize the opportunity to ask all questions regarding the presentation. Thank you all once again for joining this and do well to enjoy every bit of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Agnes, for the welcome address. Please, if you join, kindly try your best and then mute your microphone. Sophie, please mute your microphone for us. Sophie B. All right, thank you very much. So we will invite our patron, Dr. Bright Afum, to take us through our webinar for today, Graduate Studies, the Checklist. Dr. Bright upon, please, if you're online, you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen. Yeah, these slides. Yeah, I hope you can all see my slides.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, all right. So you are welcome to this presentation. Let me show my face for just 2 seconds, then I will later on take off my face. All right. So There was a discussion by your leadership. I think before your leadership, some of your colleagues hinted on some information required for graduate studies. So they put together this, the graduate studies, the checklist, and I'm fortunate to be the presenter for the evening. I will make it brief so that we can have more discussions. Yeah, so I have two main presentations. I will produce the general one, then we'll try and focus on statement of purpose, which is something that most students have challenges with. So special thanks to this gentleman or this old man called Dr. Ben Fiabo. He is now at the University of Ghana. So he was a former educational advisor in the US Embassy. And I'm sharing this because I got in touch with learning about studying in abroad or outside Ghana. Firstly, through this man. Okay, I won't say firstly, but as much as I could remember through this man in the early 2000s, whilst we were at the University of Mines. So a senior brother works at the US Embassy, and he one time realized people were trooping the US Embassy on weekends. Then he inquired about what these students are going to do there or what these young guys are doing. And he was informed that most students come over on weekends to listen to lectures or webinars or special talks on how to study outside Ghana. So my senior brother, I think specifically a cousin, linked us to it, and I took it more seriously, and I began going to the US Embassy in there. So MC, just quick one, what you do is that you should have a view of everybody and just mute anyone who you think is making noise. Yeah, I think you have control over that. Quickly do that and that will help us all right. So I got into contact with the US Embassy in 2001, I think, or 2004, maybe 2004, because I had finished SS when I started entering there. And the first thing I remember when you enter there, they tell you, welcome to the United States of America. You are in Ghana, but they give you that salutation. And it's exciting. So this gentleman, Dr. Ben Fiabo, was then the educational advisor. I kept in touch with him. We were exchanging emails until I got lost from Accra to Takwa and started my journey into my academic career. Now, I intentionally show this picture because it's important for me. So these are when I was in the UK in the early 2011 for my master's, first time traveling outside, the first two pictures. And the last one is just somewhere in Poland during my PhD going for a conference. Now, one thing people don't know about me, which I want to share, which is linked to this topic, is all my academic education, especially tertiary, has been on scholarships and has been on funding from external bodies. So I had my first sponsorship or scholarship from Space Phone Ariba. Now you guys call it MTN, or MTN has bought it. So that was in 2005, the second term of my first year in the University of Mines and Technology. Those days it was Western University College of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. We were the last batch of the tech people that were on the Takwa campus, and we, the last people to receive this. So I was glad and fortunate to receive the MTS scholarship, or what I would say, what it was. MC, you can mute them for us, please. Or what it was those days, Space Phone Ariba. For my undergraduate studies, 4 years. In fact, beginning in August was a tough season, not having money, difficult times. Then the second term, February, when the letter came that I have the scholarship, I was like a rich man. Yeah. So after that, I had a scholarship in 2010. No, 11. Yeah, 11 to study in the University of Wales for my master's in environmental monitoring and analysis, something like environmental geochemistry. Then I came back to Ghana, had another scholarship for my PhD in Canada in natural resources engineering, specifically mine engineering. While doing the PhD, had a scholarship again to University of Alberta for a citation program in applied geostatistics. Applied geostatistics. And so I've been fortunate to walk through the various streams of finding scholarships, searching for it, getting it, and statement of purpose, letter of intent, purpose statements, all those things. And so I owe everything to God and also to this gentleman I met, which later in 2016, I brought him to Takwa. So that's the first conference I held. No, 2015, yeah, you can see it from here. 2015, because most of your mates or your seniors were asking me, how can we get scholarship to study outside? How can we? So a lot of discussion. I said, let me bring this gentleman I know. I emailed him. I still had his email. I remember when I emailed him, he called me, hey, Dr. Opon, how are you? I said, sir, I'm not a doctor yet. I've just retired to UMA to teach. So the first conference, we brought him. You can see Prof. Timmy behind the scene. Dr. Tony Obin is here. That's Sandra, the scholarships manager for British High Commission, or no, British, how do you call it? The British Council? Yeah, British Council. Then Mrs. Anna Meyers, a very strong woman, national rugby president. Yeah, he brought most of the airlines to Ghana, and she has an educational consulting firm for the Canadian schools. So the Canadian embassy brought her to speak on Canadian education. And we also
sir.
Australia. Yes, hello.
Yeah, please, your slides are not moving if you can check. It's still the first slide that's showing.
Yes, I know, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I know, I'm just speaking to that same slides, yeah. So that was it. I did that in 2015, funded it with some of my students, senior students they were, and most of the costs were even for myself. But unfortunately, human people did not attend much. It was people from town who attended this program very well. The next year we did the same thing. The attendance wasn't good, but again, town people came. Most of the guys who attended, some are outside now, Netherlands, US, Canada. Yeah, And so I know the importance of graduate studies to the Ghanaian environment or to the African students. Now, one thing I will say with this picture is also to add that our graduate studies, anyone from Africa, majority of students going by 80-20 rule, so 80% of people, we move by and by chance. And because of that, we like to pray more because you want to get intercepted or you want to meet someone who will give you the right information for you. And sometimes people do courses or programs. People do courses or programs that they don't actually like it, but because there is funding associated with it, they go for it. So when you get a program that falls in your line and there is funding associated with it, it means that you are really blessed and it means that things went really well for you. If you can pay for yourself, that's always the best. Now, for this presentation, now I'm zooming into the purpose of this meeting. I'll look at what we call the graduate and professional education, preparation and requirements for graduate studies, the application process, financial aid, student visas and study permits, effective communication with proposed professors or supervisors, and some rumors and myths associated with all this stuff. Now, when we talk of graduate studies, usually we plan our future graduate education. Many people look into the political of it. So which country is becoming more powerful? US is more powerful in mining. Canada is more powerful in mining. Australia is more powerful in mining. Okay, China is more powerful in software. Okay, Dubai, Europe, those kind of things. People look into that. People also look into demographics, the weather associated with the area they are going. Canada is cold. Oh, that's what they say. Oh, Europe is so-so. People look at socioeconomic. How much funding do I have? How will I live after my graduates? Will I get a job whilst I'm schooling? Will I get, will my family be able to join me if I'm married or if I want to marry? Will I be able to achieve certain financial status or some sort of that? People look into all those things. Some people also look into the educational itself, the quality of the education, the course syllabus. I remember I rejected Newcastle University over University of Wales because the University of Wales was full of practical base, a lot of travel outside the university. And so I realized I'll be more practically biased if I go there for the 1-year program than I go to the University than the Newcastle. Yeah, someone to look at demographic. Newcastle is a Dadabi school. Oh, the name is there. Wales is somewhere, a village. You don't even know much about the place. So yeah, people look into several things. Then the financial trends, impact participation in graduate education. So which people are giving funding? That's what I said. Most African communities or students, we move per the funding which is available. Funding is on Australia, and even it is in some topics that you have never thought of. Boys and girls in Ghana will drive themselves into it and they will just go for it because you need to escape the snares and the heat in Ghana, lack of employment and all those stress. Yep. So the global competitiveness of developed countries and the capacity for innovation hinges fundamentally on a strong system of graduate education. So most developed countries that are doing well have stronger graduate education. That's why Ghana is still suffering, because our graduate education is not that strong. No funding for even students to encourage themselves to say that they are coming over to do masters right from BSc. And so the system is just as it is. So what then is graduate study and what is a professional education? So graduate study means that you are looking to pursue a master's or a doctorate degree. So the master's or doctorate degree is at a different level of education. Then the professional education are the professional degrees, which include, are not limited to law. You want to do something in business, you want to do something in medicine, dentistry, veterinary medicine, all those kind of things are like the professional education. So these are the main differences between the two. Yeah, a majority of people from developed countries go for the first option, the graduate studies. Now, the duration. Masters is usually 1 to 2 years, depending on wherever you are. Some other countries are even 3. So when you go to the UK, they are into business. They want to finish their masters in 1 year. Want to finish their masters in 1 year so that you go, a new set of people will come in. When you go to the West, America, Canada, want to finish their masters in 2 years. Some European countries also have 2-year masters. Some have 2.5 because you have to use some part to learn the language. Some too believe that your qualification does not meet their admission requirements, so they may get you on masters, but 6 months to do some abridged courses so that you blend into their system before you start the full masters. Some countries go for 3 years. Use 1 year to learn their language and the 2 years to do the program. Now, doctorate is usually 4 years. But some countries also go for 3 years. Australia, 3 years. Europe, like the UK, 3 years. The West, Canada, USA, 4 years. And typically you have up to 15 years.
Recording in progress.
People take their time. And the professional courses are usually 2 to 7 years. Again, it could be 1 year for professional, let's say, a graduate study in medical laboratory something, or environmental impact assessment. Yeah, but usually 2 to 7 years. We want to do the law, the business analytics and all those MBA. Yeah, so usually we have something we call, based on the weather system here, there are 4 main seasons. Some countries enjoy only 2 seasons, like the African countries or the tropics. Some have the 3 seasons. Now, depending on wherever you are in the country or in the world, we can classify fall. Fall is when after summer, when the weather is changing or the leaves are beginning to wither, fall. For snow to begin, then we say fall. So August is somewhere the time that school begins to early September. Yeah, it happens in the UK and in Canada, USA. Yeah. Some also have admissions in winter or spring. The US guys call it spring, somewhere in January. Canada, winter. Some too have May, spring, summer. So they are like trimesters or 3 terms or 3 semesters, as we have it in Ghana. Or some even prefer the quarters. We have the fall, winter, spring, summer. So it means that admissions goes on throughout the year, which is very different in our Ghanaian setting, where admission is always, or it used to be in August, and it's August alone. Yeah, then the poly people were in October. I don't know whether they've changed the calendar, but now COVID is changing every calendar. So yeah, that was it. Developed countries or those who are into serious business, they look at admissions throughout the year, not just one particular month. Now, enrollment usually comes in fall. So around fall, August, September, you should have completed and submitted application. So if you want to attend school in fall, that's August, September, let's say next year, September, you have to begin your application now. Complete your application by December 31st or January. Some people go up to February or March maximum. Then for the winter or spring, if you want to school in January, then by August 31st, you should have submitted all your applications. Yeah, but because we are coming from a third world country where you need a visa, you need a lot of preparation, you see that you have to do it sometimes 2 years before you even start thinking of coming. And it's allowed, you can defer your program. Yeah, I've deferred the program for 2 years before. So it's very possible, especially in the developed countries here. So there are also year-round or rolling admissions. So usually you have to check the institution website. That is always the first thing to do. Check the institution websites, whether it is fall, winter, spring, or summer. So it takes about 9 to 18 months to just prepare to program, select a program, research on the program you are going to do, research on the accreditation of the program, the curriculum. As I told you, in my UK, which was just 1 year, I started the preparation somewhere in 2008 or 9. As soon as I finished our service, I was still doing that. And I remember the IT personnel in the company will always be restricting my computer from searching. Then you come around, there's something wrong with your desktop. Then you come and change the settings. Then I'll go back and rechange it so that I can have free internet to search for my schools. So you have to do that. So I did that for about 2 years before hitting my scholarship for my master's. Then you check the curriculum. So as I told you, I rejected Newcastle and also I think Nottingham, yes. Well, Nottingham, I didn't get funding, so it was outright rejection. For the Wales, because of the curriculum. Now, location. So between the 9 to 18 months, you also look at the location and you look at the cost of the study, the cost of your living. Then the most important thing, the financial aid or scholarship or funding, that's the most important thing. So I always say that will drive you to anywhere. So you see people moving all over to Russia, all over to Iceland, very, very cold countries. The whole 12 months, 8 months, or 10 months is full of winter, cold, but they will be there. Why? Because there is some financial aid for them. Something is paying their fees. So instead of struggling in Ghana, they will go and survive there. And when they finish, they will leave. Then also campus life. People move because they want to chill. They want to chill, not just enjoy the school. They want to enjoy the community. They want to enjoy the town. They want to enjoy campus. They want to feel part of the, yeah. There are some schools where you go, you just go for classmates. So people will also look at that and you build your life from that. So the main requirements for masters, which I believe is a bachelor's degree. In fact, even for PhD, degree. So if you don't have a bachelor's degree, then your education, your graduate studies become something else. I also go through other studies, but not graduate studies, but we are focusing this on graduate studies. So universities require standardized tests. We'll look at that later. Yeah, so you have to prepare when to get a standardized test. Complete application forms online. Everything has been online these days, even before. And otherwise, sometimes people also used to print hard copy and they send it to the school. And you pay application fee using your credit card or banker's draft. And these days, even your GCB, MasterCard could be used to pay. But as usual, you have to be wise. Some are more expensive than the other. So you have to do more of your homework to see how you can accommodate the fees. Yeah, some people pay for others for free and they don't take it because they are their friends or they are colleagues. So you submit copies of your academic transcripts. So I always advise undergraduate students, when you finish school, don't just get excited and run away. Make sure you get your academic transcripts. Make sure you get photocopied one that has been stamped, like certified true copies. Make sure you have English proficiency letters. I still have my tech. I'm in Kuma University of Science, English proficiency, and also the true copy of the certificates, 2008, when I graduated. Yes, you need to grab them, especially if you have been listening to graduate studies like some of these webinars. Then you prepare your life for graduate studies right from school whilst you are a student. Yeah, and I have a friend when we were doing national service. Yeah, I've heard of standardized tests, but I didn't even register for that. Once we were doing national service, the guy had Missouri, and right from national service, I think he didn't even finish. He ran away. Then I asked him, he said he wrote some 2 standardized tests. We knew about it, but we never thought about it. So you start planning from the time you enter your undergraduate program. You have to get a statement of purpose. Then some programs require you to have or present essays. Then letters of recommendation, sometimes 2, 3 from profs and employers. Yeah. So you can application online, you pay, you submit your transcript, statement of purpose, other essay letters of. Yeah, so there are some official standardized tests. These include the GRE, the GMAT, Toefl, LSAT, and all those things. So you should know what the application requirements is. Now, from the educational advisors I've sat under, or especially from Ben Fiabo, he will tell you that if all of them are requesting for GRE and Toefl, there are over 5,000 universities in the US. 2,000 universities in the Canada. Forget about them, go for a different university. If all of them are stressing you, you are writing the GRE and you are not getting it, forget about them and go for a different institution. So don't get yourself stressed. Some people will require Toefl. Sometimes you have to draft. Toefl is just test of English as a language. So they just want to see whether you know English. And trust me, it's a standardized test. You know the English, but you can get. Yeah, I remember I nearly landed the scholarship, but they required a Toefl of 90 something. I missed it by 3 points. And so I didn't get it. Yeah, so there are some schools you have to send them a nice email with your English proficiency letter that you have schooled from class 1. You've written all your exams. You've written everything in English. So they should consider your English proficiency letter in place of the Toefl, and they do that. There are some people, they are not fortunate. They insist, they present that. So you have to look at the requirements. Then financial statements for admissions. They want to find out whether you have the financial balls, the financial strength to pay for the fees. Sometimes that's why you must get financial aid. Now, when we get, I'll tell you a secret. Now, resume is not a CV. Ghanaians, our CVs are bad. You write CVs, the normal university kind of CV, move away from that. Make your resume very sweet, very beautiful, very nice, very compact. 2 pages is enough. So it's just a summary of your CV. Don't put more, spacing between your CV and all those things. Just make it power pack. Yeah, you've done certain detail work at a place. Expand them in the resume, and you'll be fine. But I won't talk more on the resume for now. By just selling yourself to the application or the admission committee. Some people get interviews, some via phone, Skype, Zoom, or Teams these days. Yeah, some of these interviews are only, you get it if you are being funded by a professor, then the man wants to speak with you and all those things. Now, the danger in that is that you should know what you tell the person. Sometimes the person reads your profile and he likes you outrightly. Now, the phone call or Zoom is just to validate you. Some people will go and talk plenty. Then you realize, oh, this guy, he knows nothing. He's only talking, or his CV is nice. Then you don't get the opportunity. Sometimes you know it. You know more, you know your technical stuff, but you are not able to express yourself very well. So you miss the chance. So be careful with interviews. Yeah, when you are called for interview, it means that your CV was appealing to them. That was why they invited you for the interview. So when you go, just go and speak to your CV. Tell them what they know from the CV. Don't go and yob them things which are not in the CV. And because the person is smiling to you, then you also feel encouraged, telling them all the things that you feel because you're excited, you are talking. I know someone, she said if she's excited, then she's just talking. So because the professor is, you're excited, you have an interview with a professor or someone from outside, you are just telling the person everything which comes to your mind. Stay focused on your resume. Yeah, I don't have slides on that. That's why I spend much time on this. So people miss the mark on this particular phase of recruiting or getting the admission. Then they will go and blame the enemy or the devil somewhere. Please check those things. Yeah, so statement of purpose, I'll focus on this very well, but briefly, it is also called a personal statement or a biographical sketch. It is where you tell the admissions committee or the professor who you are, what your aspirations are, the plans you have for the future, and how the institution fits in this plan. Now, this, for you to get a well good funding and is based on statement of purpose, you don't just write who you are, what your aspirations are. No, you write who you are based on the person who is going to read it. So if the person going to read it is considering you for computer engineering or some statistical programs, who you are should be related to statistical program. Don't be saying when I was in JSS and my teacher spotted me that I like maths. And so I developed from the then of the bottom of my heart. No. Don't be doing those things. It's too trivial, frivolous. Don't do that. So before you present any SOP, you must look at who is going to read it and write it to suit what they want, not what you want. Yeah, if you are going to find your own studies, you write it according to what you want. But if somebody is going to grace you, to fund it for you, Then write it as the person wants. That's all. And just get your admissions or get your funding. We'll talk more about that. Give a lot of time and thought to this. Some people just write and finish. Yeah, I used to do that and I still do that. When I write, it's difficult for me to go through, read whatever I've done. I don't like going through my work at all. I realize that when I take the pen and I go through it, I see some funny mistakes. And I could then see the reason why some of the courses in UMath, my baby, but I will still go and get 72. Our time 70 was A. I will get 72, 74. Because I won't go through the exam. When I'm done, I'm done. Then I'll just fly away. So now give a lot of time and thoughts into this. Go through your statement of purpose. So we'll discuss this more on the next phase. So essay, some application process require you to write an essay. The essay is not just the same as SOP, but it's something related to the technical study that you want to do. So you want to say that why now that you want to do graduate studies. You want to discuss why you have considered that institution or that professor. So that's why you must know certain laboratories in the universities, certain software that they are using that will help you in future, the professors, former students, what topics have they worked on, how you follow them. You have to look at those things, then you write to suit. Significant achievements. What are your achievements? It's not those kind of achievements that are vague. You see, the achievements that are linked to the technical staff. Release them to the committee or to the professor. You know that the professor has been engaging in coaching activities on campus. Talk about your exploit as a soccer player or a volleyball player or whatever, because the person was doing that. So it means that you must, as I said, know the person who is going to read your stuff and fine-tune your writings, your things to suit the person, and you'll be there. Short, medium, and long-term goals. Yeah, you have to write them. And I have somebody who started a study here, and the professor keep asking the person, you say you wanted to go back to Ghana and lecture. Are you sure? I think the professor has a long-term plan for the person, you know. And because he wrote it in his statement of purpose or his essay, the professor kept it in mind. So this student has to go back and tell the professor that please, as for that thing here, we wrote it to get visa, or we wrote it to get admission letter. So please, forget about those long-term goals. I am in tune with any plan that you are bringing on board. I'm open. So sometimes your long-term goals may not align with the professor and you will just be kicked out. There are about 1,001 people who are contacting professors. The thing is difficult, you know, how to write into the person's mind. So some people exploit experts so that they help them. But sometimes you can also exploit the grace of God or any spiritual power you have. I recommend the grace of God so that he will guide you. Then you write into the mind of the person. Then you are there. Then challenge you have faced. You see, you have to talk about some weird challenges. Sometimes you don't even have what you may think is not a challenge. It's a big challenge for these developed people. So sometimes you have to magnify your challenge and how you solved it. Then you'll be there. So the standardized tests, they are common and they are required for most graduate studies, especially those in the West, in America. So include the Toefl or IELTS. So these two are language proficiency, right? There are other ones which are admissible, like the Canadians have their own special one, which is very, very easy, but they don't, I'm not sure they have it in Ghana. But the Toefl, difficult. IELTS is also difficult. So when you are studying it, you have to read it. Yeah, I've written the IELTS before, I think twice. I've written TOEFL once. All of them are standardized. You have to study. They are mechanical English. It's not your English that you are speaking, or as I'm talking now. They need you to join certain phrases and certain things together. Yeah, then we have these ones, right? Some are related to only engineering, some to mathematics, students, some to the management guys. And so they only test your critical skill, analytical and logical thinking skills, right? So that's what they believe. If you pass GRA, it means that you can finish graduate school, you know. And I keep telling them over here that in Africa, the stress we've gone through, we can pass any course. So it's not a GRA that will test our whatever, but so sometimes too, you can draft a nice letter to the committee and ask for a developed country. You can ask for a waiver, write a nice whatever. If you have any publication, your BSc thesis that you've done, now you guys are fortunate. A lot of publications in Ghana, conferences in Ghana, you can just lift your project work and go and present and say that you have presented before. Then you get a summary, you post it, you give it to the people. They'll say, this person can write this nice project work. Let's give him or her the waiver on GMAT or LSAT or GRE. Then you are there. So anything is possible, right? Just have that in mind. So what is the test designed to measure? So these tests are all there to test your performance, ability, whether you'll be able to survive the graduate study pressure, the psychological pressure, the health pressure, everything. So that's how this is designed. So you should know what the test format is. You know, you just wake up and say, I've registered for GRA. And yeah, I remember those days we have a GRA Bible. I used to have it. Yeah, people will study, especially those TAs, because it's all about going out to go and do masters. Yeah, some people, they don't care, they won't study. Meanwhile, it's not getting job too. So it's difficult, but you have to keep trying because that's the process you have to go through. So what to expect on the Thursday, you should also know. Yeah, you should know. I missed my Toefl marks because I was working the mines and going to write the Toefl, and so I didn't check most of the rules, you know, most of the rules. So I remember leaving about 6 questions unanswered because I thought the screen will move to the next question, not knowing after reading the passage, you must go through and answer. I was waiting for the minutes to finish before I start. Then I lost 6 questions unanswered. Then I became annoyed and rushed through the rest like a crazy man. So you should know the test format and also the test date. You can't just wake up from the minds and go and write it. Yeah, it will bite you. And I lost only 2 points for this. I think it was Erasmus Mundus scholarship. Yeah, I was able to contact them personally. We were chatting. They said, oh, what was your Toefl mark? I said, oh, 90 something. They said, oh, the pass mark is 98. Sorry. Try again next time. Then that was it. So then know the duration of the test and when to expect the score so that you can plan into whether you are starting your April, your fall term or winter term or spring term. Is very, very important because the university will not wait for you when your test is not available. No, they don't care about you. They'll just tell you we are sorry. Yeah, even if you are bringing a lot of money, they'll tell you we are sorry. If the government of Ghana is paying for you, they'll take the money and they'll tell you that apply again for the following year. And they won't refund the money to you. I know many people that government of Ghana has paid big monies for them, pounds of cash to go and study in the UK. They are still working in the mines. They've not gone, but I won't go and report them because they are my friends. Yeah. Registration and test preparation. You should know when to register. I remember 2019, someone was going to register for IELTS in February, and he came back, he said the whole year it has been booked. The guy lost interest in coming to Canada to study. That was it. He has never talked about it again up to now. So know the registration, know the time. Sometimes on a personal registration level, the booking is full, but you go through a third party and they can register you and book you. So it means that it's a money-making business, but that's the world we find ourselves. You have to go through the third party and they will get you a slot. Specific programs require it. Some too do not, especially our engineering. They need some of these GRE. Yeah, but as I said, from the horse's mouth himself, Dr. Benfiabo, he said, if most of the universities are requiring you to write GRE and whatever, there are a lot that are not requiring GRE, and they are also good universities. Go to those schools. Don't waste your time on GRE when you know that you don't have the time to learn and write and pass. So give yourself adequate time for preparation and learning. Yeah. Letters of recommendation. Find people that you trust. Sometimes I'm very kind to my former students. I can tell you that when you were on campus, you were a bad boy. You were a bad boy. You were copying in exam room. So if I should give you a recommendation letter, I will spoil you. I will say the truth. So I will advise you go to a different person. Yeah, the person will not like me for not giving him the recommendation letter. But I think you should rather like me for telling him the truth. Yes, but he won't like me because I didn't give him the recommendation letter, because I do mine very quick and I can decide not to do it for you. Yeah. So you should find a person who can write nice things about you and present it. Yeah. And some of us, because we had Prof. Timin and I remember write reference letter for me. No, I think Prof. Kuma did. And Dr. Suglo also did a lot. All my studies, Dr. Suglo and Prof. Timmy have been writing something for me. Yeah, so you have to know who you contact to write stuff. Yeah, some people will write bad things about you, but they won't tell you that they are writing bad recommendation about you. So you have to know who to contact. It's very, very important. So it's an important part of the application. Look for those who know you and can attest your intellectual capacity and curiosity. They must mention your motivation, assertiveness, time, stress. Well, sometimes you don't have control over the content, but some of them you have control over the content. They will tell you, give them a draft. Sometimes I do that with some of the students or some of the people I know, and they write stuff, I laugh because all the things they've written are trivia. Then I will just do my own way. Yeah, but if someone asks you to do it, it doesn't mean that he can't write it. He can write it, but he just wants to see how you recommend your own self for some of these tests. All right, look for people who are willing to write. That's also another important thing. Some people are not willing to write. They will keep your application in their email for long months and you miss it. Yeah, I remember my classmate, my former classmates. Yeah, he gave me one. I couldn't finish it. And I also realized that he wasn't interested in following up to push me and say, oh, Charlie, you've not sent a thing. No. So he was working in the mines, enjoying the money. So he wasn't interested like that. So I also closed my mind and that was it. So people who are willing to do that. Financial aid, available for engineering, applied and physical sciences, and perhaps the humanities and social. So if you want to, financial aid are always mostly available for the engineering guys and the applied sciences and the physicals. Yes, the main reason is that there is that shortage mostly in the developed countries. There are a lot of funding for developed countries to develop their engineering approach in solving issues. The indigenous or the citizens, they don't like those kind of topics. They don't like the science, they don't like the mathematics. So because of that, you have a privilege by getting scholarship in these areas. That's how it is. So not quiet for the law. Yeah, you want to come and do law. You have a big ambition. I want to be an engineer who is a lawyer. I'm sorry for you, but your funding will be limited. Sometimes they may pay like 10% of your fees for you, or 15% or 20%, but majority of the money you would pay, or the fees you pay. Then the business and the medicine. So remember, these are like the professional courses, right? So there are no much funding available for the professional courses. So as you guys, most of you are engineers, you have a lot of streams. I have a lot of link and all those things for the professional, what am I saying? Somebody is eating there and he's distracting me. That young man should stop. Yeah, don't worry. Then institutionally sponsored loans. Yeah, some institutions give loans, even in Ghana. Yeah. Some give loans, some give free funding. I remember when I was in Ghana, I used to recommend people for free funding. I was told they were not going to pay back. Yeah, I used to voice for them and recommend them for those things. Yeah. So they are all available. Though in Ghana is highly political. I know people who they have NDC cards and they also have MPP cards. So any party that comes, they are in and they are just trying to survive. Yeah, sometimes you have to survive. So types of funding, employer finance opportunities. So your employer, your company can give you the finance. Yeah. My company for my master's, I had worked there for 10 months. And the financial opportunity they gave me was just to allow me on a steady leave. I accumulated my leave and they were paying bonuses and all those stuff. Yeah, but I had worked there for 10 months. HR said I was not qualified. My own countryman said I was not qualified. But the Australian said, no, let this gentleman go and come. He's a bright boy. Yeah, he will be able to, yeah. So when I finish, I also have to go back to them, even though I switch to a different mind. Yeah, so that's it. Then majority are the scholarships and the grants. They are also always important. The first thing to always look out for is when you go to the website, you want to search for school. The secret and the most important thing is look for eligibility. If you are not eligible, don't try and be begging. Please, don't do that. If you see they need somebody with 2-year experience and BSc and you don't have, don't even apply because they will not give it to you. Don't waste your time. Yeah, if there's scholarship, there are no scholarship in the institution, leave them, go to a different institution. If there is an organization like Commonwealth Commission, they give scholarship. Chevening is there, they give scholarship. Roads what? UN, those people, they use scholarship. Yeah, if you are not eligible, don't even be sending them message and be begging. You'll be wasting your time. There could be fellowships or stipends and grants. And the top ones usually are for the European guys, the stipends and the grants, and the fellowships mostly for the Western guys. So they could have that. We have this research. It's a 6 months research, but we could use that to fund your graduate education, your master's studies. So yeah, go for it. There could be loan options. So in the US, we have the Stafford, the grad plans, the private entity, they give loans. Sometimes you have to go for loan. And I know people in Ghana who went for loan to study outside because they see the opportunities that are available after the study. So funding graduate study is a big challenge. It requires a lot of research. You have to do a lot of research, read. Yeah, some people don't like to do the research. So they give it to people, to help them, and therefore they pay some amount. So there are a lot of educational, immigration consulting companies that help people. So they'll do the research for you and you pay something small for them. It's also available. Yeah, maybe you like the research, but you are busy working in the mines. So something must pay for that service. So you start early, know your rights and your obligations. So the funding itself, so scholarship and grants are the best types of financial aid because you don't have to pay back. The scholarships and grants, you don't have to pay back. A professor will say that I have this research I want to do and I want to fund your studies. However, the condition is that you must publish 2 papers, 3 papers. Yes, do it. You just have to go for that. Yeah, so teaching and research assistant is also very common. So sometimes they will not tell you you get this scholarship. But as soon as you get the master studies or you get the study, then the department would grant you an assistantship. Like you should help a professor to teach. So like a laboratory where they are using a software, you should help them to use the software. You don't need to say, oh, I don't know how to use the software. I've told you, whatever you say, they are going to use it against you. They will even give you, there's a laboratory, step-by-step process on using the software. So you will be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah, let me talk more on. And some too, so this become like extra funding for you when you have a scholarship. And I know someone who was coming, the father was saying that, no, don't come because you don't have funding. The people didn't give you funding, so don't come. What they gave you cannot survive. I don't have much money in Ghana. The lady, was brave, moved. And lo and behold, she had a teaching assistantship job. And boom, she was okay. And now she's doing PhD. And I was excited when she told me about that. Sometimes you get a graduate fellowship. So the fellowships are like, there is an institution that does research. So they employ you as a worker in the institution. And the salary they give you is like what you use to pay your fees. So some people will be paid like a month, $2,000. And your fees will be scheduled for you to pay like $1,000 every month. So you are using $1,000 for yourself, $500 for your rent, $500 for whatever thing that you want to use for. Yeah, and mostly this funding are given only for you to survive as a student. So sometimes it is scanty. I remember when I was coming to Canada, and I discussed my funding with Henry. Henry was like, oh, there's someone in Canada. I think he was talking about one lady we all know. She said, oh, if you're funding about the amount of your family. But I forgot, I didn't show him the raw funding. I was showing him a different letter. So later on, I thought about it. I said, oh, okay, I think I showed him a different letter. So I had the first funding and I had a bigger funding. And so I was fine, yeah, and I'm still fine. So you have to look at that. I'm just trying to fly because I have a lot of topics in this area. Yeah, so now, one of the most important things is the student visa or student permit. My, oh my, sometimes you get an admission letter. The school has given you everything. Now, the visa to travel becomes wahala. The wahala here is that it's a challenge. The embassy thinks that you don't merit their visa, so they won't give you visa to come and study. You don't have control over it. The embassy thinks that though you want to come in school, they don't believe it's a genuine thing you want to do. The embassy, they have so many reasons. When you go, will you return? You just started national service, you finish service and you go and do masters. For me, it falls in line. I want to be in academia. I finish service, I get my PhD in Australia. I'm going to do it. Then Australian embassy is thinking, oh, I don't have work experience. They won't give me the visa. That is a real hurdle to cross. So mostly you need admission letter, you need academic documents. So you need to draft again your statement of purpose again, your study plan. I use the study plan, not even the statement of purpose. So you tell the embassy about your study plan. So they know that you are coming with a purpose, not just you are coming to enjoy their facilities, That's what they think. Yeah. Then financial document, that's the most important. So they look at 2 things, your admission letters and your financial documents. Then you can now apply to the visa. So they may ask you Some visas you go for interview, others you don't go for interview. Most of my visas are applied. I didn't go for interview. The UK, the Canada, Australia, I haven't gone for any interview. But the US, I understand you go for interview. So you have to go prepared. Yeah, why the country? If the person interviewing you is not in a good mood, you are in trouble. If he's in a good mood, you are there. Yeah, you have to show confidence that you are not just going to the country because Charlie, the country is the place that will make you. No, take that thing out of your life, out of your writings. You should present to them that you are going to offer to the country. If you present that the country is going to make you somebody in life, then they will reject you because they always want people who contribute to their country. So even if you don't have national, you don't have working experience, only national service, go and help them. Write it in the study plan. All your talents. When you get there, you associate yourself with this and this and that, and you make their country great and strong. When you get here, you should come and monitor your life and see what you are doing. You've gotten the visa. So whatever you do to get it, get it. So why the institution? You have to tell them again, how are you going to fund your studies? That's the most important thing. But when you have financial documents, you are one step into here. Now, you may even have it and they will reject it. They will reject you. And I've seen people getting visa rejection, even though they have nice funding. Some people were rejected twice, 3 times before they now landed here. So it's not easy, but as we always say, Ghana, we move by chance and choices. So you pray for and your chance will come. Family ties, social and economic ties. So usually when they see that you have a family abroad, they don't want to give you visa because they know that when you come, your family will to go. So sometimes you try to hide those kind of things. You rather try to magnify your family back home. That, oh, I have a very big family back home. I'm the sole winner. When I come back, I will be the president of WIME Africa, WIME Ghana, women in mining, whatever, Western region. You have to tell them something. Then they know that this guy or this lady has a vision and he or she will come back. Yeah. Now, effective communication, very important. Most of the professors or most of the people outside are busy, extremely busy. So how do you capture somebody's attention when a person is busy? Those are the things you should employ for your life, you know? Yeah. You find a professor, he will even check the email because who is this person? And the name too is not, the first time someone heard my name, he thought I was a Chinese person. The name too doesn't sound familiar. And so he sees it and it goes to spam or he won't read it. So sometimes when you have somebody who is in the institution already, he's able to walk into the professor's office and mention your name. I remember one professor mentioning somebody's name to a colleague here. It's a Ghanaian. The colleague does not know the person, but so far as the name was Ghanaian, he said, oh, this guy, I know him from UMAT. So he came to ask me, Charlie, I'm so, yeah, this is the picture. I said, Aquari, a friend is, I know. The professor said somebody sent her an email, and because I'm the TA, she was asking, oh, someone from Ghana sent an email, and Charlie, you know already, the person is from Ghana, so I gave her all the things that she will hear. Yeah, so that's how it is, right? They are busy, so you should know how to capture them. Be punctual, smart with your e-responses. Most of the professors know the Africa, for we always put off our data. I always fight with my people. Why do you put on your data? Why do you put on your data? When you put it on, you put it off. When you put it on, it will still download everything. The professor needs some information. Maybe you've been chatting with the person. He needs some information quickly in a meeting, then he texts it to you. What was your first degree again? Then you use 2 days to respond. You have missed it. You have missed it. So you have to, I know data is expensive, but if you are engaged with someone, email, check your email every 2 hours or whatever. Yeah, not every day. Yeah, I know how it is, but you guys have smartphone. Everybody has smartphone. Our time, we used to go to the cafe to go and check email and respond. So, and if you have smartphone, you have money for data. You can call your girlfriend and all those things. Why can't you have data? So you have to be punctual and be smart. Know your strength and sell it. So the email you send to a professor should be very compact, short, and strong to the point. You know, yeah. And be polite, but not too polite. Yeah, you know how it is. Some people, please, kindly, Debbie. You have to just, you know, have some confidence, but also not be. Some people, sometimes it's a way of life, you know. You come from some village, you shout before people will hear you, you know, like my Ga people, we shout before they will hear us. So when you are even typing, you are shouting in your words. You have to be polite, but again, not too polite. A little bit pushy. So that when they see your email, they can't even reject it. Then they will respond. And don't ask unnecessary questions. Let me see whether you see it. Yeah, go straight to the point. Don't ask unnecessary questions. There are some questions you have to research about the thing. Research about the person. It's online. You want to know the person's research area. His research area or her research is online. It means that you don't even follow him or her. You want to be his or her student. It's unnecessary. So you should know what the person is doing and go straight to the point, mention certain topics and align yourself to it. Then you are there. And be technical, right? Be technical right from the beginning and be more technical. So you have to be technical, you have to be more technical. So a person knows that he is not dumping his money on some African guy. They don't know that in Africa, we don't learn anything. That's what they keep in mind. Yeah, that's what they have in mind. They don't know, we don't know anything. I have one professor at Queen's, young girl, finished PhD 2020 or so, or 2019. I told her, you have to pick this Ghanaian mining guy. Oh, does she know how to do coding? I said, oh, don't worry. When they come, they can learn coding in 1 week. Oh no, it's not possible. This girl said no, she won't pick the Ghanaian student. Now she started Queens and met one UMass girl over there. And the girl is doing marvelous things, coding. Then she came to me, right? Charlie, now I understand. The Ghanaian people, they are serious. I said, you see, I told you. Just last month or last 3 weeks, she's telling me she is now picking a Ghanaian guy to start in January. So they, in their mind, we don't know anything. So when you are also chatting them, put in your mind that you are telling them that you know your stuff. And have confidence. Even if you do 1 month attachment,
More coding. The communication and
maximize it.
If something happens, like the communication, the network is there.
So there are some rumors. MC, you have to help me. You should be smart and just mute them so they don't. I'm trying to fly so that people's credits, you know, you can't be online for more than 2 hours and you can't ask your questions. Yeah, rumors and myths. So the major rumor is you have to marry, and it's true. Sometimes when you are applying for visa, the thing is about the visa, right? For the school, these days, there are information available. You can get a school. But now to get a visa to land yourself is a challenge. Yeah, sometimes they want you to say, oh, are you married? Because I know that if you are married, you will definitely go back to your husband or your wife back home. So they'll give you the visa. Again, it's not true because somebody was just applying. He had correct funding. He's leaving his twin and his wife back home in Ghana. They didn't give him the visa. He applied twice. They didn't give him the visa. Someone will say, oh, he's not praying now. He is praying, but he didn't get. So they are all rumors, right? But there are some truth in them. Yeah, someone on the 8th application to Canada, a school in Quebec, she was told that now go and marry. They just sent her the email, go and marry. So it's like, you don't know what is wrong with them over there. Yeah. Yeah. I met one of them at the conference. I said, you guys are the ones who are rejecting people. A guy was trying to hide. Oh, I'm not part of, but I was told he was part. So they are like that. When they are in bad mood, their wives or husbands have done something to them, then they bring it on you. So you have to also pray more, right? So that certain things will also work for you. You have to have a fat bank account. Yes. If you are going to fund your own education, they look at your bank account. But sometimes you can have a very big bank account and they won't. The lady who was rejected 8 times, at one point in time, she was told the money does not belong to her. She was even told you transferred 2,000. Like she likes doing charitable jobs. So she gave 2,000 to a friend just for free loan or something like that. They said, why did you transfer this kind of money? These people, they can do certain things just to frustrate you. Yeah. Tell them you will come back to change Ghana. That's what they want. That's what they want. Tell them you will come back. And this thing I'm writing, or this thing I'm sharing with you, some of the notes, the majority of this note is coming from the Dr. Benfi about my man. Yeah, and he has this in the slides. And I said, oh, okay. So the thing is professional way of saying it, right? So you have to tell them you come back to Ghana. Yes, you are the one who is coming to be the queen of your area. In fact, if you don't come, the city will not improve. Write it. Tell them. Yeah, they don't like the truth. Yeah, they don't like the truth. Or they don't like more truth. Yeah, I know it will be recorded and they may chant. Yeah. They don't like more truth. So tell them you come to Ghana. And truly to sometimes after you finish your school, you see that, oh, Accra and Joe, this place, you don't like it. You are not surviving here. You will be more useful to go back to Ghana. Sometimes like that. So yeah, you have to just go back, tell them you come back, and you even be, yeah, yesterday someone was telling me that, oh, they said she will be a president of Ghana in future. And I said, amen. You see, me, if I knew about when I'm writing the study plan, I'll put it in it. I have ambition to be president of Ghana, meaning that if I come and study in your Australia country, I will come back. So get some ties. People think you always get a land, but it's not always about land, right? Get some solid ties in Ghana in terms of family, in terms of the most important thing here is job. Get a job or a company that will give you a study leave letter. They can write a letter for you and say, oh, we are giving you 2 years study leave. Go and study and come back. That is the most perfect ties. Yeah, that's the most perfect ties that they are looking for. That they have somebody who will go back and you go and help build the mining industry, the automobile industry, the telecommunication industry, because he's working with MTN and MTN has given him 2-year study permits, study leave to go. And even whilst he's studying, they are paying him his monthly pay, or they are giving him extra funding. That is a solid tie. They will not reject your visa application unless you have some dubious error or you made some funny mistake. Yeah, so that's it. I'll end here, but I won't take the questions and contribution. Let me do the SOP, then we'll do the question, and yeah, that one is just about 5 or 10 slides. Yeah, also you can type your questions, right? You can type. So this is a quick one, writing a good statement of purpose. I think I shared this with GRASAC, National Graduate Students Association of Ghana, one of the national conferences in Ghana. Yeah, they invited me and I shared it, and I think it's a good information. So writing a good statement of purpose. So let me see what I have here. So I said we'll look at what SOP is, why SOP, and tips on a winning statement of purpose. Yeah, I can share these slides later on. Yeah. So statement of purpose, simply called SOP. It describes you. It describes your brain, you know, what you are worth, your achievements, relevant personal information. Relevance, the key here is relevant. Not every personal information about you is relevant. Some go to destroy stuff, so check it. Your purpose to enrich the world. Yes, here you have to help them, tell them everything. You are the only person who can challenge Einstein in this world. Yes, tell them. They want to hear that. SOP is not a personal statement. It's true. It's not a personal statement. So I'll compare that personal statement to, like, you have your own funding and you are telling them, I'm coming to study here. So to tell you that it is not a CV as well, and it is not a cover letter, you know, where you just write some few stuff about the purpose of going for a job or going for school. No. So it's also not an application letter and also not a letter of intent. I use letter of intent if I want to contact professors. You see, one letter, power punch, pim, just like that, tells you everything, tells the man or the woman everything about you, about the study, letter of intent. So I use that for my PhD. So I will use that if you want to contact a professor, letter of intent. But if it's about admission committee, SOP, where you expand it a bit. So why the SOP? Usually they want to know you. They want to know whether you fit in the organization, in the institution, whether your interest aligns with what you want to do. Over the year, they realize that those without the program, they come and they don't even start the program. They wander around, and no institution wants to bring you to come and study. Even you go to UMA to go and do masters, and you are just wondering now. Yeah. The host is muting me. Host, please don't mute me, okay? I'm the main presenter. Thank you. Then it will also assess you and your skills beyond the transcripts. Assess you and your skills. So they know your transcript. They know your CV. So why do they still need SOP? So people don't know what to write, you know? Yeah. So they want to assess your skills, and that's the most important thing about the SOP. To compare you with other applicants. Yes, know that the whole world is applying for this. My first scholarship, Commonwealth Scholarship, it was only one slot for that university, and the whole world are applying for that, and I had it. So when they told me I got it, it was just within one day when they asked me to go apply, and they just told me I got it. Then I said to myself, these people, they've seen something in me, maybe they want to exploit me, I won't go. I decided not to go for my master's. I then took paper and pen to begin doing some analysis because I realized that it is good to go and yeah, just go and learn. So yeah, so they'll compare you with other applicants. And lo and behold, when I went to the UK, I met someone also from Ghana who applied to my program. Yeah, he's a good friend now. Yeah, a lecturer at Lagos now. He was like, Bright, we are bad, I want to apply for it now, man. I said, oh, so you apply some. Me, Krana, I didn't want to even accept it too. Yeah, it's like that. So also, they determine your likelihood of success as a grad student and professional. And it's very important to them. Some people start and they don't finish. So they don't want to, and it becomes a bad record in the university or for the institution. So they don't want to have that record that 4 people started and 2 people have shone or they have stopped the program. You know, yeah, it's a bad record. So they want to see the SOP that will tell them about whether you will finish or you not finish. And trust me, most people come and they don't even want to do the master's or PhD that they started with all reasons that they can find to themselves. Yeah. And sometimes when you come here, you realize that, oh, the embassy here is not that stressful like the one in Ghana or in Africa where you are applying from. Then you realize that, oh, okay, there's no point in studying for masters. Let me just change my status and find a work here and start doing. Yeah, so the institution want to read that from your statement of purpose. They can deduce whether you will be a good grad student or not. Yeah. Then to give you a chance to spotlight your motivation, character, and potential. Tips. You must be clear, concise, specific. Long statements is not that important. Just go straight to the point. Be specific on what you are writing. And substitute for interview. Sometimes you don't need an interview. The SOP itself is an interview. So a winning one must substitute for an interview, right? So you tell them, you write things that if you were being interviewed, you would have spoken to them. That's how it is. So focus on your experiences, conclusions drawn, and lessons learned. Yes, those are the things. I was with this institution and with this number of projects, and the conclusions were this. So they know that even when you are in this institution, you are working on this project, and you can boast of some tangible, conclusions. Yeah. I was just a student leader here, and based on this thing which happened now, my thinking level, my reaction to stuff has changed or has improved. They want to see those kind of things, Yeah, show what you will contribute. As I told you earlier on, no one wants a liability. Yes, even if you think you are coming to benefit in the institution, you have to tell them that with your background, with your diversity, with your exposure on gold mining, with your 4 trips in an underground, whatever, when you are in a class, you'll be able to contribute. You'll be able to bring the importance of mine economics from the mining point of view into the business environment. Then they are like, wow, this guy, even if we find him money to come and study, our team of students or the class will be enriched because we have someone who can ask questions from the African point of view, from this diversity or this diverse area, from this kind of experience. Mostly our students are not mining guys. They are all straight from, so this guy, so you have to show them what you can contribute, And I always say the Ghanaians have accumulated a lot of experience, even from class 1 up to university. The experience you've accumulated, if you sit down quietly, you'll be able to turn some of the things you've gone through into a contribution for the growth of an institution, and they will just get you on board. Yeah. Make your admission compelling. Make it very compelling. Like, for instance, when I went to the UK for the first year, or just a 1-year study, I formed the African Society in the institution. So if I'm applying to an institution, I can bring that on board, that I'm a leader, I'm able to form an African Society within 1 year while studying for my master's and blah, blah, blah. Then they'll be like, wow, we need this kind of person here. He will bring all the African people, he will bring all the diverse culture together. He will be able to, then you get funding for that. Yeah, you get funding for that. Then the limit on your personal interest. So you have to limit on your personal interest. I like this, I like this, I like it. Yeah, we know you like it, but don't tell us, right? Don't tell them you like it. Yeah, you enjoy the swimming pool. Don't tell them you can even swim because they know you're coming to use their facility. They don't like it. But when you tell them that, oh, you are a trainer, swimming, you can train people in swimming. Oh, this guy, when he comes around, all these culture differences, students who don't like swimming, this guy will be able to motivate them to go to the gym, and it will improve their health, mental orientation, their psychological strength. Then you see that they will consider you. Yeah, they will consider you. I still keep the message I received from the Commonwealth when I didn't apply for the scholarship. Then they just sent me a message. Oh, you have not applied, so go and apply. Then 2 days time, I still didn't go. They sent me a follow-up email. We've not seen your application. Go and apply. Then I went there. When I went, they've closed the portal. Then I sent them an email. Your portal has been closed. How can I apply? Then quickly they responded. We are sorry. We are opening it for you. I was like, hey, these people, what have they seen? They want to exploit me here. Okay. Oh, okay, I don't know you. Let me just apply. They opened the portal for me, the portal which was closed. They opened it for me, I applied. The next day, congratulations, you'll be called by these people to go and do medical. That's where the Ghanaian mind started coming up. These people, they want to exploit me. I won't go anywhere. I will keep working. Then those things. So maybe they might have seen something I've written or something I've got somewhere. And that is, pushing them to give me the admission and the funding. So you have to hit it. Professor Boa will say, crack the nut. You have to crack the nut. Yeah. So spin out, make what is negative positive. Yeah. Even if you have a bad habit, turn it into a positive thing. And say that, oh, you like talking too much, like me. You like talking too much. So you use that to teach people who will not be able to understand. They say, this guy, yeah, if he comes and we teach and the student don't understand, he will be helpful. Yeah. So it should be neat. Formatting, neat. You must, for most of your writings, it's not neat at all. You have to take your time. Formatting, make it neat, solid, nice, original, professional. Don't go and copy people's stuff. But these days, it's good humor is even, we have Turnitin. You can just put your writing there. Sometimes I give people my SOP so that they look on it to write. Mine is already in the system. So when you go and dab, they will just put it in Turnitin and they realize, oh, plagiarizing, this guy is not professional. He's not honest. Let's throw him away somewhere. You missed your chance. So relevance of your proposal to the faculty research area. So you have to read more about what the faculty is doing. Don't work alone. Use guidebooks in the advising library and relevant websites. So you have to use guidebooks, use some of these notes that we have prepared for you. Ask people, yeah, and you have to imagine, get to the wow factor. You have to wow people with your words, Yeah, be a politician a bit. Don't just be too technical. Be a politician a bit. Write stuff so that they will just say that, wow, this guy, yeah, when you get there, you surely survive. Yeah, that's how it is. Be free. Do not expect your first SOP draft to be perfect. That one is always true. Sometimes you have to give it to someone to read. Don't feel like someone is going to see how best your SOP is, so you are not going to share it. What you read in class is not the best, and you feel someone is going to steal it. My brother, my sister, share it with someone. Let him read it. Let them correct your funny mistakes and move ahead, right? Format is key. Make it nice. Some people change the color of their paper. They make it a different paper, nice, and all those things. Use metaphors. Use themes, online themes, and link your ideas. Don't let it just be a standalone, like somebody who has stolen the preaching from a pastor and preaching. Yeah, it's not the best. Link them, and you'll be fine. Avoid yawn effects. I'm passionate about this. I am a hard worker. You have to show, demonstrate it in writing. We know you're a hard worker, yes, but say something like, when you work in the day and you go in the evening, you still do research and you are able to do this and that. And so you have published this paper, you have research on that, even though you had a tight schedule. They know that you are a hard worker. You are showing, you are demonstrating, and not just, and don't be saying, I am this, I am that, I am that. Yeah, don't do that. It's not a personal statement. Avoid quotes. Einstein is saying this person is saying that, oh, this and that. No, just flow, be original, right? It's an avoiding formal writing as well. Some people, they write these things. Oh, I don't even have an example here. Won't, I won't go. What is I won't go? You see, don't be using those kind of words. Those are informal writing. Like the way you guys write in WhatsApp, AM, I'm going. Don't be saying those. When I see those things, me cry, it bores me. Not someone who has funding. You throw it away. Yeah, follow the rules. Do not exceed the well limit. Yeah, they may give you a well limit, 2,000 well limit. Just follow the rules and just do it. Yeah. Single space is fine. 2 pages is okay. Don't write plenty. They don't have time to be reading. Don't write plenty. You yourself, you didn't go through it several times. Brown bread before you write that, or before you wrote that. Don't write plenty. They don't have time. Especially if it's a professor. Yeah, I know most professors, they will give it to their fellow students or their students to screen it for you. Yeah, like what my previous supervisor will do. Yeah, the students package, he will just send it to me and I will read and, rate them. So I look at you and you've rated so many. You are wasting my time. Yeah, I don't have time. And you are wasting my time. I will throw your paper away and say that this guy wants trust me, I didn't read it. Yeah. The general requirement of the program. So follow the rules. What are the general requirements of the program? Yeah, don't go and manufacture something else that you think this is the best. If it's the best for you, when you get there, you do it. These are their requirements. Go by that. Yeah, so most of the information again from Education USA, they are my own people. It's a calorie, and I think he is the current education advisor now. Yeah, the USMI. So a general thanks to them for providing the information. And now I can say thank you and ask for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bright, for the nice presentation. But before you go to the questions, I think Mr. Henry wants to give us some updates on OSIM and then what is happening in the industry. So I don't know if Mr. Henry is online, then he can start with that.
Good evening to you all. I'm online. Thank you. Can you hear me?
You can go ahead. Yes, please.
Good evening, yes, for the sake of those who don't know me, especially the new ones, I've turned my video on. I hope it is clear.
Not so clear, but I think we can manage.
Okay, if it's not clear, then I'll turn it off so that it doesn't disrupt people.
No problem.
Okay, first of all, let me thank Dr. Afum for this excellent presentation. In fact, as I was listening, I was comparing my notes. When I was in the US, I had a handout for colleagues in Ghana who wanted to do master's programs in the US. So I was comparing my notes, and it's a very excellent presentation. In fact, I'm talking to one of the professors who have been funding a lot of Ghanaian students into Australia to do a presentation on the things he looks out for so that it can complement what Dr. Afum has said. Abigail is also in discussion with a Ghanaian immigrant in Australia to also share his experiences. He actually did his bachelor's degree in Australia and now working there, so he can also share his experiences. But first, I want to welcome the new members into the OSIM. Currently, during my last check, we have about 79 members, the highest ever so far. 58 from UMAT and 21 from KNUST. So welcome, enjoy the professional development and have fun as well. I also want to update you that one of your coaches, Dr. Isaac Zapata, is now promoted to a fellow of the OSIM. In fact, he approached me to endorse him. He's made a lot of contribution to the industry. So now he's been upgraded to a fellow. You can see also a lot of Ghanaian professionals joining the OSIM thanks to your publicity and hard work. In fact, after your KNUST conference, a number of professionals came to me to endorse them for membership. You'll see that Mr. Francis Ghani, the CEO of MTG, who sponsors your Zoom, is now a member. Amina Alasan, who's a senior planning engineer at Idue Prem, is a member. Our own Samuel Sean has been on the platform. He's now moved from Perseus and is now the technical services manager at Newmont, Afum. So you have professionals on the platform, so be cautious and be professional when you are writing stuff on your WhatsApp platform. I also want to update you that I'll be receiving the Resources Sector Award on the 22nd of November in Brisbane, Australia. And I want to spend a few minutes to talk about it so that whoever has a passion to do something can do it. I recall that I was sitting in a class in Colorado School of Mines, mineral economics, and the lecturer came in talking about economics of natural resources. And the whole lecture was concentrated on Africa. And I was the only African student in the class. So I was wondering why he was doing that. And he kept on saying Africans are not maximizing the potential of their natural resources. So after the lecture, I went to him and I said, why did you dedicate the whole lecture to just me? And he said, I want you to go out there and change Africa. So it occurred to me, and my first job with after my master's with BHP, I was invited to what they call global orientation. You go to the Melbourne office and you come up with ideas and so on. So I threw the question, where are we mining all these iron ore finds, which are not paying much like the lumps? Why can't we add value? And through that initiative, a task force was set up, and BHP set up the hot briquetted iron ore plant in Port Hedland. Unfortunately, they rushed through it, so it had technical difficulties. But since then, I've been pushing this. In fact, when I worked for AME Mineral Economics in Sydney, we used to consult and advise governments. And anytime a minister from Botswana, Namibia comes to Australia, I kept on hammering them, add value to your natural resources, bauxite, iron ore, and so on. So when I got the opportunity in instances like this, the governments will tell you, yes, we will do it, but they never have the political will to do it. And the reason is the implementation is very difficult. The technical implementation, it requires technology, it requires technical expertise. So I remember a minister in Mozambique telling me to come to Mozambique and spend 2 years to help them. But that's easier said, to move from Australia to Mozambique. But when I had the opportunity to go to Oman, I was given 30 minutes to address cabinet ministers on how I'm going to create 5,000 jobs in the mining and metals space. And this was a country without much mineral resources. So I told them I need $500 million as a mining fund. And the reason for that was to bring in raw material, iron ore, and other things into the country. And this was the first time a minister would sit and go, approved, do it. Before I left, we had set up an aluminum plant employing thousands of people. We have an iron ore pelletizing plant also employing thousands of people, ferrochrome plants, steel, and so on. Now, I didn't know that the OZMM were following all these things. Sometimes I'll come to Africa, mining in Durban and other places and do presentations. They've been following this over a decade on all the things that I was doing. So when I had a chat with one of the committee members, he said, you didn't know that we were following you. So the message here is whatever you are doing, do it with passion and drive it. And you will never know the reward that you get in the future. I also want to take the opportunity to address some of the gaps that I listened to the presentation of Dr. Afum on the orientation, and there were a few things missing, so I want to fill it up. In fact, the OZIM sponsorships started around 2006. The launching happened in 2015. But in 2006, MESA at UMatt invited me for a lecture alongside the then Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, one Professor F1b. And after the lecture, a number of students approached me for guidance or their project work and so on. So I got overwhelmed and I sponsored some to the SME and some to the Australian Institute of Mining and Metallurgy. And the intent was to get mentors because I was burdened with a number of students asking for help. Now, the OZIMM got interested, and I know Rod Elvish and others started mentoring some of the students. Now, this is how the scholarships came in. So one student broke the rules of mentorship by asking for financial assistance from Rod Elvish, who is now the sponsor of the scholarships. And he got so angry and called me that he wasn't going to mentor any student in Ghana again. So I had to apologize on behalf of the student, UMAT, and the whole country, Ghana. And through that apology, he said, we'll do this. I have some money, but I won't give it to him. Let's make it competitive for students to apply for this money, and whoever wins, we give it to him. Fortunately, that student wrote one of the best essays, and he was one of the recipients. That is how the scholarships came about. In fact, those around the time, the late Professor Roger was a recipient. I sponsored him into the SME and other people who are currently in the industry. So that bit was missing. Around 2015, I did a presentation to the head office in Melbourne that I've been sponsoring students over the years. And I intentionally kept the number very low, at 15, 20, because it was more focused on mentorship than anything else. But then as the numbers started growing, they started doing programs, visiting schools, talking about mining and so on. So I did a presentation to Melbourne to recognize TAQA as a chapter, and it was approved. So on the 28th of September 2015, the chapter was actually launched. Dr. Afum also missed one of the presidents, one of the very efficient presidents, in the name of Apau Frimpong Siang, who is now at Newmont. I think he was before Gloria. So that was also missing. Apart from that, it was a very excellent presentation. He covered all the basics. So once again, thanks to your very capable patron. In terms of publicity, I'm very happy that over 70 people attended this presentation. It shows that you are getting interested and you are hungry for knowledge. Unfortunately for the current administration, Wisdom's administration raised the bar. In fact, the Wisdom's name is all over the place in Australia now because he really publicized the Alzheimer. He was very, very upfront with the head office asking questions. Can we do this? Can we do that? And so on. So he's really raised the bar. And therefore, the current administration has a challenge. In fact, in one of my presentations, there were over 100 people lining up. Some couldn't get into Zoom because the limit was 100. And therefore, thanks to MTG, now we have a limit of 300. So the publicity is not only the role of the PRO, all of you. Now, all I did was put one of your Tuesday promotions onto my WhatsApp status. And then I got a call from Zimbabwe. Can you help us set up a professional development in Zimbabwe? Now they are sending me a ticket to be in Zimbabwe. So you can see the power of publicity. So all of you should invite your colleagues. The knowledge is not just for you, it's also to the general public. So try as much as possible to bring in your colleagues as well. Now, in the next couple of weeks, I think there's a presentation by Mr. Isaac Sam on Mine Planning 101. And some of you might say, I'm a geomatic engineer, I'm a metallurgist. Why should I be listening to mine planning? So listen to this very carefully. One of you or some of you become CEOs of companies. And when you become managing directors, general managers, and so on, you are supposed to be a generalist. When I say a generalist, it means you don't have to know the technical details of mine engineering or metallurgy, but you have to have the basic understanding of all these things to be able to be a successful CEO or a general manager. Just about 3 months ago, a company in the United States told me to audit their life of mine plans. Life of mine means on a year-to-year basis, what are they mining? Capacities, marketing plan, budgets, and so on. And then after the audit, I sat with the CEO of the company and the chief mining engineer. And I asked him one basic question. Why are you improving your truck productivity every year by 5% when the pit is getting deeper and deeper? So those of you who have done mining will know that to move ore from point A to the crusher, you need a certain time. So if the pit is getting deeper, it means your cycle time is going to get longer, and therefore your truck productivity is going to reduce. But here is a case where the truck productivity was increasing year by year. Now, this chief mining engineer said, I want to put pressure on the pit supervisors. This is what I call lazy mining engineering. there's basic principles to determine track productivity, Hall profile analysis, and so on. 2 weeks ago, I heard he's been fired after that meeting. Another example, just last year, a consulting company, one of the big giants in metallurgy, did a feasibility study for a company. And unfortunately, I had to audit it. And then I asked the basic question, how did you derive the capacity of the plant? Because once you tell the client to build a plant of 2 million tons per year, then the mining engineers are going to do the mine planning to suit that 2 million tons per year. They will do the scheduling and all that. So I asked the basic question, how did you come up with 2 million tons per year? And the response was shocking. And this is from one of the biggest consulting companies in the world, that a concept study was done 10 years ago, which derived that 2 million tons per year. And therefore, they use that concept studies to do this detailed feasibility study. So then I asked the question, what was the copper price 10 years ago versus now? Completely different. So if you're doing a feasibility study in 2020, you should go through the basic supply-demand analysis, market, copper price, and so on, to determine what capacity you use. There's something called grade tonnage NPV analysis. It took me only 2 hours to do that, to demonstrate that 2 million tons was a bad decision. In fact, the most economical output was 1.5 million tons based on simple analysis. So what was the conclusion? The client said, I'm not going to pay your balance of $500,000 until you go back and fix it. Now, fixing it is not that easy, because once you change the plant design to 1.5 million tons, the whole mine plan has to be redone again. So it was going to cost them $1.2 million to redo the whole thing again. So who is right? The consulting company decided to take it to court for the judge to determine. And I said, hallelujah, let's go. Now, one thing about being a journalist, for some of us, we've done corporate law, we've done business studies, and so on. Let's go to court. Their lawyer advised that they're going to lose. They ended up redoing the entire feasibility study again, right? So you need to understand all these things. If you look at the context of Ghana, AngloGold Ashanti, the current CEO of the group AngloGold Ashanti, is an economist. He's not a mining engineer or a metallurgist or geologist, economist. But he's worked in the mines. He was a BHP vice president for diamonds. He's become a generalist. He worked for Orica. He was the CEO of Orica before he joined BHP. If you look at Ghana, Erica, my own friend Erica Subontin, the MD for Boise, he's a finance person. But when he talks to you, you will think he's a mining engineer. So take this opportunity to attend these lectures, whatever we call it, Mine Planning 101, whether it's metallurgy, geotechnical, geology, whatever it is, and so on. So I wanted to make this point. Now, coming back to Dr. Afum's excellent presentation, I just want to show you certain things. I have a friend in Ghana who funds a lot of the mining projects in Ghana here, AngloGold Ashanti, Newmont, and so on, when it comes to sustainable capital. Now, anytime I come to Ghana to do a presentation, I see her sitting on the front row. So one day she tapped me and said, can I take you to lunch? So we went to lunch, and since then we've become friends. Anytime she has an issue with some mining projects, she will come back to me. So I advised her, go and do mineral economics, and I'll give you the recommendation to go to Colorado School of Mines. And she said, I don't have a bachelor's degree in mining or anything. I said, no. There are executive programs. Once you are into mining, you qualify. So she got the admission. That's the interesting part. Where is the funding going to come from? I told her, contact one of the professors. The professor then linked her to an organization which was providing funding. And then she got a scholarship. Unfortunately, COVID came in and they canceled the scholarship. Last week, she called me and he goes, guess what? The Ghana government, through the scholarship secretariat, has given her a scholarship, and therefore she's leaving in January. Now, Dr. Afum mentioned that the semesters do not start like August. It's all rolling every semester they admit and so on. So she's going to start in the January one. So there are scholarships in Ghana here. I didn't know that there's even a scholarship secretariat that offers scholarship. If Isaac Sam is here, he can highlight how he also got the Australia Africa Award. That is also available. Because of COVID, it's on hold, but that requires a minimum of 3 years after your graduation before you can apply for it. So there are a number of funding opportunities. But when you are looking at this funding, you have to explore the countries, because Dr. Afum mentioned a number of factors, socioeconomic and so on. The other factor you need to look at is employability. Now, those of you who have read my book, when I finished my master's, I desperately wanted to come to Ghana, but I couldn't get employed in Ghana. And therefore, I had to resort to working with BHP. Now, when I talk about employability, the reason why it is important, you will lose a big opportunity if you go and study in the United States and don't get experience, exposure in technology in the United States or Australia or Canada. Now, depending on the type of visas, if you are on a government scholarship, they give you what they call a J visa, J1 visa. That implies that when you finish, you are forced to return you to a country. The only way you can work in the United States is for the Ghana government to waive that right to return. And I've never seen it happen. The colleague who came to the US to do physics, PhD in physics, when he finished, the United States government, through the NASA, the space agency, wanted to hire him. Ghana government said no. He came back frustrated, a lecturer at KNUST, didn't even have accommodation and so on. So he had to do a minimum of 2 years before the US government would bring him back to the US to work for NASA. So you have to look at the type of visa that you're getting. Now, for those who self-sponsor or on teaching assistantships, fellowships, and so on, you got what we call the F1b Visa. That one allows you to work for, during my time, it allows you to work for 1 year before you return to your country or find a job. Now, the advantage to that is that you are able to, if you are lucky to get a company that is interested in your development or employment, then they will actually take over the sponsorship after you finish your 1 year working visa. So the country gives you 1 year to work. If you get metallurgy, you have 1 year to work in metallurgy. And then after that, depending on your performance, you have to return or the company will take you on and then they will sponsor you on H1B. So I'll take mine as an example. So I had 4 months left. It took me about 8 months to find a job in mining engineering in the United States. The remaining 4 months, BHP took it over. When I was finished, they sponsored me on H1B. And then when the 3 years was about to expire, they had the option to renew it for another 3 years, but they decided to transfer me to Australia. Canada might have the same. In Australia, it's a bit different. I think you get 2 years when you graduate. And the intent is Australia is a huge economy. So they actually want immigrants to stay in the country. So they give you 2 years with the hope that the company, if they like you, will take you on, or it allows you to apply for skilled migration, which is based on a point system. And that's another topic that we will discuss later. So all these things, you have to take it into consideration. Now, I'll give you my example. When I finished sixth form, I had a very powerful uncle who was in the PNDC days, was more like the right-hand man of Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. He was more, some countries used to call him the Prime Minister of Ghana. And he knew that I'm a capitalist. Those guys are socialists. They have all these socialist ideas. So anytime we meet at home, me and him we used to argue. So he called me one day and he said, "You finished this form, I have a scholarship for you." And I said, "Where?" He said, "Russia." So in those days, I thought Russia was even more socialist than what the most socialist country in the world. So I said, "There's no way I'm going to Russia. Find me a scholarship to England or Canada or other places." Now, because their relationship with the West was not that good at the time, the only place he could get for me was Russia. Then I had to compare a Russian scholarship with an official learner at AGC in those days, Ashanti Goldfields. So I decided that rather than going to, my mind was so biased against socialism that I decided to stay in Ghana and go through the Ashanti Goldfields route. So you need to take all those things into consideration when you are making decisions on these things. The good news, in fact, this presentation has come at the right time because economies are opening up. Australia, which has been the toughest country in terms of COVID, now says that they will reach 80% vaccination rate around mid-December, and therefore they will open up for only those who are fully vaccinated. And even then, you still have to quarantine at home for 7 days. If you look at Europe, you will see that most of the countries are above 60% in terms of vaccination, around 60 to 70% in terms of vaccination. And therefore, when you look at the English Premier League, you see a lot of people at the stadium and so on. So the presentation has come at the right time when economies are opening up. So I encourage all of you, whether you want to continue immediately after your national service or work and get some experience, this is the time to start looking at those options. In the context of industry updates, those of you interested in bauxite alumina, you realize that the government made an announcement that they've chosen one strategic investor in the name of Rockshore, that many of you know. They've been giving some blocks to explore the bauxite and look at the chemistry for alumina production. The government has also formed GISTEC, the Ghana Integrated Iron Ore Development Corporation, to start looking at iron ore and value addition in the country. Cardinal Resources is also slowly coming back into production, hiring some people. Asante at Babiani is also moving speedily in recruiting various engineers and so on to start production. Goldstone will be pouring. In fact, I met with the CEO recently, and they will be pouring their first gold around November. And she has agreed to do a presentation to you guys on the challenges that she's faced in Ghana. So a number of developments are going on. So I just said I'll take this opportunity to give you these updates. Now, the small scale mining funds, the government is also trying to set up a mining development bank to help those of you who want to go into small scale mining. And this bank it's like the Agricultural Development Bank in Ghana, ADB. They will purposely be for mining projects. But this is what I call policy on the run. Now, last week, a friend told me that they had gone to see a bank to set it up. Which bank will actually set up a mining fund to look into small scale mining with all these challenges? How is it going to be monitored? The monitoring regime, reclamation, and so on. No bank will do it. So it's called policy on the run. And this is what governments in Africa get wrong. They don't do stakeholder engagement to understand the complexity of these mining funds. I manage a fund of around $500 million. In fact, if it even increased to 1 billion, and it required a lot of planning. I had technical people, lawyers, commercial people running this fund. It's not that easy. You have to make sure that all these things are in place. So I said, I'll take this opportunity to give you these highlights and leave the floor open for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Henry, for your presentation. So, Mr. Afum, we'll go straight to the questions. I think we can start answering from the chat. So the first question is, what makes up the financial documents from Michael J. Mensah? And then Ishmael is asking about the proof of funds, and then for Visa, how do we go about those ones? So Mr. Afum, I think we have just 2 questions at the moment, if you can answer them for us.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Henry. Yeah, I didn't see Henry was around. Yeah, so what made up the financial document is just what we generally call the proof of funding. So proof of funding, as I listed on the slides, generally they want to have the institution giving you the admission, want to have the confirmation or the assurance that you have proof of funding, or an institution is paying your fees for you, or you are paying it yourself. There are some institutions that will not even prefer the individual to have money in his own personal account to pay for the fees themselves. Well, I always fight or argue with them about that, but it's like historical experience, right? Is letting them do that. Like for instance, Queen's University, if you want to fund it yourself, they find it like inappropriate to allow you to fund your fees yourself. So financial document is the proof of funding, maybe a letter from a supervisor saying that he's going to pay your fees for you. He's going to provide you, let's say, $25,000 a year. Now the challenge is if the school fees is $22,000 and you have received $25,000, then the visa, the officer at the visa processing center would find it inappropriate that your funding is not enough, because after paying fees of $22,000, you have only $3,000 left for the year, and rent is about $500. That means that you can't even pay your rent. It means you can't. So your proof of funding document is inadequate, right? Sometimes you may have received an email from the university that you are eligible for GTA, and so you will be on a GTA on a yearly income of $10,000. So then that will be an additional funds to the $25,000 that you've received. Sometimes you may be eligible for a fee waiver. Fee waiver is just like the fee for international students may be $22,000, and fee for domestic students will be like $12,000 or $8,000 a year. So the fee waiver is they will allow you to pay a domestic fee, right? So you'll be charged the $12,000 per year. That means that if you have $25,000, you are paying, you're using $12,000, then you have some enough financial proof to pay for your expenses. So that is that. Then another first question. Yes, so as Henry noted, and I have a list of scholarship links, and even these days it is even everywhere. But as I always said, funding for education always starts from the website of the university. The website of the university will have the link of the various institutions that they have collaborated with or they work with to fund students' fees. And trust me, most students in a developed country do not pay the fees themselves. It's funded by third party, only some few, right? 80-20 rule. I think what I wanted to mention, which I just remembered, maybe that's where Anafo is coming from, is when you are applying to the school for admission, mostly they will ask you source of funding. The secret is that indicate on it scholarship. If you don't even know the kind of scholarship you want, just indicate at that section scholarship. From experience, I've seen that those who do that, if the school sees that you are eligible for some of the scholarships they host, they will just nominate you. Like as I said, my UK funding, Newcastle, I remember clearly, I didn't indicate source of funding. I just left it blank. But the University of Wales source of funding, I was specific. I was like scholarship or Commonwealth scholarship. So they nominated me for that. That was why I realized they were pushing me to go and register, even though the platform was closed and all those stuff. And we work on 2 or 3 more other people in European countries who also indicate scholarship, and they were linked to some scholarship, portals for them to apply. So I see that the secret is when you are applying and they are source of funding, don't just write self-funding, meanwhile you know you will pay for yourself. Just indicate scholarship. If you are smart, you could read the various scholarship hosted by the university or the institution, find the ones that you are eligible and list them in the source of funding section. And I think something good will come out. Yeah, let me put it that way. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Afum, for your answers. I guess we don't have any more questions for now. So we are already behind time. So you call on Gilberta to give us the closing address as we wrap up for this webinar.
1 minute, guys. Dr.
All right,
Afum, great presentation.
Mr. Mensah, thank you.
I wanted you to touch a bit more on GRA for some of our guys.
Yes. If you can share something, share it with us. Yeah, I'm sure you wrote something, right? Or you didn't write GRA.
Well, fortunately, my school didn't require me to.
Okay,
So
good.
they waived it.
Good. So the GRA, right, is a short form for graduate record examination. And it is a technical writing or exams. However, it is not difficult, but it's a little bit difficult. Let me put it that way. Like the normal mathematics, you know, some simple science questions and all those stuff. But as I keep saying, I know things are evolving. So my time, the people, my friends at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, they shared a book with me called GRA Bible. It's a book which contains a lot of information. And I didn't write the GRA myself because I told you from Dr. Benfiabo, if you can escape it, because sometimes those things are stressful. But if you are bent on going to some schools and they need it, like I have someone I've been guiding, he just told me he has registered and he's going to write it, and he's so confident in that. I like it. Yeah, a friend was doing service and he wrote it. Nice. It is a technical exams, very simple, but time bound, right? So they may ask you some simple mathematics questions. Some people are sharing oranges and like simple ratio and proportion, right? But because it is time, but you don't have the liberty to think more, or you don't have the liberty to relax and just be solving it as you like on some sheet of paper. So then I think it also has some English component even as part of it, like comprehension, logical reasoning, all part of it. So you just have to study for it. I know in Ghana, there are some institutions that even train students to write those things. If you don't have the time to study on your own, you can get registered with those institutions. They will guide you. I know you pay some small fee, but it's a business they are also doing. And you just have to stick to that. But that's for engineering. If you want to do the management courses. Strangely, if you want to do MBA, most of the universities are going for GMAT, graduate management and something, accountancy also, or administration, some the test. Most of the MBAs, I was even arguing with one professor. You are not getting people to come for MBAs. Someone is coming to pay fees from Ghana. You want to do MBA and you are insisting GMAT. And he said, that's the order of the day. That's what is required. It's a proof that you can do the MBA. So the person must surely do it. So even though they need a student, even though they need the money, a year, 22,000 pay fees, but they are still requiring that, right? So those standardized tests are there. I know most of you guys are smart, and the thing is that it doesn't take smartness to score high marks on those things. Yeah, you just have to learn it. Yeah, engineer I could tell you it's a mechanical English, Toefl, or IELTS. You can speak all the nice English, but yeah, he will tell you that if you don't go to someone who knows to give you the tidbits on surviving IELTS, all your money will finish. You just keep writing and writing and writing, and you will not get it. So that's what I will say to the GRA and the standardized text. Yeah. Yeah. Then in conclusion, I will just add that in all things that you do, right, information,
I'll show me leave you then you go.
do it fast, seek help. These days, many people are available to help. I'm telling you, our time, you go to your senior brother, he doesn't even know what you are talking about. You must go and find your help somewhere. So some of us became friends who we don't know because they will give us the right information, right? So just get the right information, act fast. You guys don't like acting fast. Someone says, oh, I need reference, please do it fast. Then I say, okay, give me a small draft. It took him 1 week. You cry, it takes you 1 week. Then you want me to do it fast for you. I won't do it. Or I also delay, you know, or someone will just put your name there. He won't tell you, I listed you as a reference. Then I'll receive an email. This very person wants reference. I won't devote my time to do that. And sometimes when you tell them the truth, you know, they don't like it. But that's how things are. You know, you can ask Henry, but you know, sometimes you don't want to be. But I like to always tell you what the big guys are thinking in their head, right? You can't frustrate them with your frivolous kind of emails. I want to study, which school should I look for? The thing is online, just go and search. Don't email me. Mr. Afum, you see, which school is best in Canada? When the thing is online, you can read. You are frustrating me with that email. I won't respond. Sometimes I'll be kind to respond when I know you don't know. Then I'll try and teach you. And when I teach you and you repeat it, first, second, third, then I see that no, you don't want to go forward in life, or you don't want to stick to the protocols or how to do things. So just some way of learning. All these things are part of the effective communication, right? Yeah. And when you must also always go back, you know, and give feedback, you know. Yeah, engineer Ike will tell you, oh, when they need you, then they start coming. As soon as you coach them, they run away. They don't give you feedback. They will run away. Then the time you hear, Toefl is a Missouri, you know, but he is he will always give you feedback, you know, and that's what you should do, right? And sometimes someone who has been coaching you has got some information somewhere, but because you don't have you don't ask the right questions, he's not able to remember that, oh, this person needs the info. Then you miss it. So that's what I would say, right? And I wish everybody well. I pray that all of you, your ambitions and your career plans will just fall in place. And as I always say, we'll meet at the top. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Afum. So Gilberta, if you are online, please give us the closing remark for today's webinar.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's an honor to give the closing remarks, but I'll first of all express my profound gratitude to Mr. Henry Entry, who is the sponsor and the founder of Untitled Chapter, Dr. Afum, the patron, the Untitled student chapter executives, and everyone present. The topic for this webinar was an interesting and important one to with the graduates and non-graduates as well. And it was something that we wanted to know about. See, it's a challenge making decisions on what university to go or on further studies. And even after a decision has been made, the how to becomes another challenge on its own. But this evening, through Mr. Afum's presentation, we've got to know the checklist to graduate studies, and I picked something from it, the how and the where. The where is by having an extensive research online to know the accreditations from the university, the curriculum, the location, costs, financial aid, campus life, the duration and academic calendar. And from the how to is by first having a BSc degree, having your standardized test, and you have to complete your application forms online using your bank credit cards. And also we have to get the statement of purpose, other essays, which has to be technical and has to be based on our achievements, not writing like unnecessary personal information about ourselves, and get a recommendation from our professors. So I think a lot was said, and all of us all has learned something from this evening's presentation. And from the discussions, I hope this one will help us in our career journey ahead. Thank you all once again. Stay safe and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Gilberta. So on this note, we would like to thank everyone for joining, both members and the non-members. And then some of you are asking for the recording of this presentation. So if you joined through an invite from a friend, you can get in touch probably in a week or 2 weeks' time for the recorded one. And then if you want to play back, you can play back and then listen. In the absence of that, I'd like to thank you all for the attention and then your patience, even exceeding our time. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.